Mount Phousi, a revered natural and spiritual landmark, stands prominently on a spit of land in the heart of Luang Prabang, nestled between the Nam Khan River to the east and the mighty Mekong River to the north and west. This central location not only establishes it as a geographic focal point, but also offers visitors sweeping views of the confluence of these two rivers and the surrounding townscape. In this video, we ascend Mount Phousi via the Southeastern path, which begins near the Nam Khan River. Also on the ascent is a brown millipede, a common inhabitant of the hill's shaded and moist environment. These arthropods, characterized by their long, cylindrical bodies and numerous legs, play a vital role in the ecosystem by breaking down organic matter, enriching the soil, and supporting the area's lush vegetation. Despite their multitude of legs, millipedes move slowly and are entirely harmless, often curling into a tight spiral when startled. The staircases feature Naga balustrades, symbolizing mythological and spiritual significance. These sacred serpents in Lao and Buddhist mythology guard the path, with intricately designed heads at the base, displaying fierce expressions, flared nostrils, and fangs, symbolizing their role as guardians. Their sinuous bodies flow along the balustrades, resembling the flowing nature of rivers, an element closely associated with Nagas as protectors of water and fertility. In Lao Buddhist tradition, candidate monks are also referred to as Naga, drawing on the deep mythological and spiritual significance of the Naga, a revered guardian and protector. The Naga represents qualities of transformation, humility, and spiritual growth, traits that mirror the novice monk's journey of shedding worldly attachments and embracing the path to enlightenment, much like a serpent shedding its skin. As the Naga undergoes transformation, so too does the monk prepare for profound personal change. In addition to a statue of the Buddha seated on a Naga, who shelters him during his meditation, there is also a statue of Bhumidevi, the goddess of the earth, who aided the Buddha by wringing water from her hair to flood and destroy Mara, the evil one, thereby clearing the Buddha's path to enlightenment. These representations symbolize both the Naga and Bhumidevi as the Buddha's protectors and helpers, safeguarding his spiritual journey. Here, the path diverges, and I decide to ascend via another Naga staircase, planning to explore the other route on my return. This way, I can also catch up with my friend Dom, who has taken an alternate path ahead. The path leads me to a rocky outcrop, where more stairs ascend to a platform. Here, I find a small cave-like pavilion housing several Buddha statues. The upper walls are adorned with murals depicting scenes from Buddhism and of heaven. The path now descends a little. It leads me to several gilded statues of monks, including Pra Sankat Jai, one of the 10 principal disciples of the Buddha, depicted as an obese figure seated in meditation, with both hands resting on his belly. A little further along, I catch up with Dom, who has attracted a stink bug. When I tried to gently remove it from his shoulder, it released its infamous defensive spray, which landed on Dom's neck and caused mild itching. Dom wasn't happy about this and blamed me, despite my attempt to help him. After rinsing his neck with water, we continued our ascent, passing several Buddha statues in various poses along the way. While the primary route, starting along Sisavangvong Road on the northwestern flank of the mountain, features 328 stone steps shaded by frangipani trees, the Southeastern Trail offers a more gradual ascent, welcoming climbers with serene spiritual imagery along the way, such as this reclining Buddha statue, part of a system that features a different Buddha statue for each of the 7 days of the week. This tradition reflects the Lao Buddhist belief that each day is symbolized by a specific Buddha posture, each associated with spiritual qualities unique to that day. Devotees typically pray to and offer respect to the Buddha corresponding to their birthday. On this flank are some of the other Buddha statues in this system, each associated with a specific day of the week, including the Buddha for Saturday, depicted seated on a coiled naga, symbolizing protection and wisdom. Next, we encounter two yaksha, a class of supernatural beings often depicted as giant sentinels. These imposing figures stand guard at this section of the trail leading to Wat Chom Si, their presence serving as protectors of the sacred path. Traditionally, yakshas are guardians in both Hindu and Buddhist mythology, associated with safeguarding treasures, sacred spaces, and deities. Here, they stand as powerful protectors, warding off any evil and ensuring safe passage for those making their way to the temple. In the distance, the octagonal stupa and golden spire of Wat Tham Phousi catch the eye, standing on another hilltop. As we near the 100-meter-high summit, we take a brief detour to a freestanding stupa. From this vantage point, we catch our first glimpse of the area below on the opposite side of the mountain, offering a fresh perspective of the surrounding landscape. Dom is ahead of me as we tackle the final section of the ascent. I catch a brief glimpse of him before he disappears behind a rocky outcrop, vanishing around a bend in the trail. As I catch up, I find him standing in front of a large, multi-headed Naga statue. Without pausing for long, I pass him and take the lead, eager to continue the ascent. Near the summit, I come across a platform featuring two statues of hermits, sages that are associated with wisdom, meditation, and supernatural abilities. We finally reach the top, and coming from the southwestern trail, it feels as though we are entering through a back entrance, confirming that we've taken the less traveled route. Famous for its 360-degree views of the town, mountains, and rivers, we make our way to the balcony beside the temple's chapel, where we're greeted with a breathtaking panorama. Though we arrived early in the morning, this sparrow quickly reminds us that we're not the only early birds up at this hour. After taking in the surroundings, we now make our way into the chapel. It is home to several Buddha statues and features intricately carved gilded doors. As we exit through the northern doorway, we can see the National Museum and former Royal Palace of Luang Prabang nestled at the foot of the mountain. Built in 1904, it showcases a blend of traditional Lao and French architectural styles. It was constructed for King Sisavang Vong and his family during the French colonial era. Following the king's death, the palace became the residence of Crown Prince Savang Vatana and his family, who were the last to occupy it. After the 1975 revolution, the palace was seized by the government and later converted into a national museum, opening its doors to the public in 1995. In the center of the summit stands a partly gilded, 24-meter-high stupa, built in traditional Lao style. This stupa is a prominent feature of Mount Phousi and serves as a spiritual focal point for visitors. The stupa's elevated position offers stunning panoramic views of the surrounding landscape, including the winding Mekong River below. The Mekong River, stretching around 4,590 kilometers, is one of Southeast Asia's longest and most important rivers. In Laos, it serves as a vital geographical, cultural, and economic resource. Forming part of the border with Thailand, it provides essential water for agriculture, fishing, and transportation, sustaining rural communities that rely on its waters. The river also acts as a key transport route, especially in areas with limited roads, connecting towns and villages along its banks. Spiritually, the Mekong is deeply significant in Lao culture, tied to legends and local beliefs, such as the mythical Naga serpents that are said to protect the river. The blue stripe on the Lao national flag represents the Mekong, symbolizing the country's wealth and natural resources, while the white circle represents the full moon, a significant symbol in Buddhism, which is the predominant religion in Laos. We decide to start our descent before the heat of the day sets in. To make the process easier, we split up. I will retrace our steps along the same route we came up in order to collect our car, while Dom will take the northwestern trail, a path I've already walked several times years ago. We will post the footage of Dom's descent in a separate video, highlighting his journey down the northwestern trail. I quickly make my way down, to the point where I had bypassed the split in the path, on my way up. The path feels like a labyrinth with multiple forks, and eventually, I arrive at an elongated wooden temple bell from a different side. I now find myself at the bottom of the lion staircase, near the spot where I had earlier seen the novice donning his robes, ready to leave the temple for his early morning alms round. It seems he has already returned and is now sitting in the doorway. However, he gets up and moves off as I approach. I follow him inside and notice that he's holding some incense. Seeing that he seems to shy away, I decide not to intrude and quietly leave. I am now back at the pavilion that houses a gilded statue of a monk kneeling while holding incense sticks, surrounded by murals depicting key scenes from the Buddha's life. Bypassing the statue of Bhumidevi, the goddess of the earth, I continue on, following a Naga bridge that leads to a place I have not yet visited. Passing through an open shelter, I arrive at a cavern that houses a footprint of the Buddha. According to legend, these sacred footprints actually mark the places where the Buddha walked on earth. The large size of the Buddha's footprints, known as Buddhapada, is symbolic rather than literal. The grandeur of the footprints represents the Buddha's extraordinary nature and his enlightened path. In Buddhist tradition, the size of these footprints emphasizes his immense spiritual influence and the vastness of his teachings. The large footprints are often depicted to reflect the Buddha's ability to leave a profound impact on the world and to serve as a guiding mark for followers on the path to enlightenment. Impressed by the unique nature of the Buddha's footprint, I bid farewell to the mountain temple and make my way further down the trail to reunite with Dom on the other side.